We're a culture obsessed with intensity. Boot camps, interval classes, marathon training, crushing the workouts. And in all of that noise, we've almost completely overlooked one of the most powerful, most accessible, most research-backed health practices available to us, which is walking. So today, I want to talk about why this humble, unsexy movement practice might deserve a lot more respect than we've been giving it. Welcome to your daily hit of grace and grit, your quick dose of inspiration to kickstart your day. I'm Courtney Townley, and here is today's hit. Let's start with something that might surprise you. The 10,000 steps per day target that a lot of us have been chasing, it didn't come from science. It came from a marketing campaign for a Japanese pedometer in the 1960s. The number was chosen because the Japanese character for 10,000 looks like a person walking. That's it. No clinical basis whatsoever. So what does the actual research say? Well, a meta-analysis of 15 studies involving nearly 50,000 people across 4 continents, published in the Lancet Public Health, found that for adults under 60, the risk of premature death leveled off at around 8,000 to 10,000 steps per day. For adults over 60, the benefits leveled off at just 6,000 to 8,000 steps per day. Among people in the higher step groups, there was a 40 to 53% lower risk of death compared to the least active group. 40 to 53% lower risk from walking. Let that just land for a second. Here's why walking punches so far above its weight. The benefits are not confined to one system. They are a whole body, whole person package. The benefits are many to the whole body and the whole person. Cardiovascular health. So walking, of course, regularly reduces the risk of heart disease, lowers blood pressure, improves our circulation. Research published in New England Journal of Medicine found that people who walked at least 150 minutes per week had a 31% lower risk of cardiovascular events compared to sedentary adults. There's a huge advantage to metabolic health. Walking improves insulin sensitivity, helps to regulate blood sugar, and supports a healthier lipid panel. And for women in midlife navigating hormonal shifts, that effect in metabolism is significant. And then, of course, there's benefits to our mental health. Walking just makes us feel better, right? It reduces cortisol, it increases serotonin and dopamine, and it's been shown to be as effective as medication for mild to moderate depression in some studies. And walking outside amplifies those benefits. Sunlight, nature, and movement are a very powerful combination. And then we also have cognitive health, kind of separating that from mental health here. Cognitive health being that regular walking is associated with reduced risk of cognitive decline and dementia. It increases blood flow to the brain, and it supports the growth of new neural connections. And perhaps what might be the most underappreciated thing about walking is that it's low impact. It's sustainable. It's free. And it's wildly accessible. You can do it anywhere at any time. You don't need equipment, a gym membership, or specific fitness level. You just need to go out and walk. So if walking is this powerful, why do we so consistently underestimate it? Well, I think one of the reasons is because a lot of people delude themselves into thinking it doesn't feel hard enough, right? They've been conditioned to believe that if exercise isn't painful or exhausting, it doesn't count. More is more. Harder is better. And walking, especially a comfortable conversational pace walk, doesn't fit that story. But good thing, the research doesn't really care about our feelings about intensity. It cares about consistency. And walking is something that most of us can do consistently day after day, year after year, in ways that a grueling boot camp class really just can't sustain. It's interesting. I made a post recently on Substack about moving your body more and how it doesn't always have to look like exercise to reap the benefits. And somebody had posted that a few years ago, I think it was during COVID, they were not feeling their best. And so they invested in a pedometer. I think they got a Fitbit and started walking every day. And the revolution that happened in this person's life was profound. They started walking every day. They started to lose weight, which apparently they had weight to lose. They were able to deal with the challenges of COVID a little bit better. Just so many benefits. And of course, they were inspired to start cleaning up their diet and improve their eating habits. So they were just so emphatic in their response to my post about walking being a way to improve the health of our physicality without really feeling like we're having to exercise. There's also something to be said for what excessive and high-intensity exercise does to the body, especially for women in midlife whose nervous systems and hormonal systems are already under a significant load. More is not always more, right? Sometimes a long walk is exactly the right dose. So how do we actually use walking as a practice? Well, aim for consistency over perfection, right? A 20-minute walk every day is worth more than a 2-hour hike once a week. Daily movement compounds. And use it intentionally. Walking after meals is particularly effective to help us regulate blood sugar. Morning walks help us to get in that natural light, which supports our circadian rhythm and sleep quality. And evening walks can be a really powerful decompression tool for your nervous system. And here's the key, right? As with anything, we've got to make it enjoyable. A podcast, a friend, a dog, your favorite playlist, or nothing but your own thoughts. Whatever makes you want to do it again tomorrow. Sustainability is everything. I read a story recently about another gal that I follow on Facebook. We're Facebook friends. And during COVID, to help her deal with mental health and just, dealing with the challenges of COVID, she started doing a daily gratitude walk. And I can't remember the length that she would walk. I want to say it was almost an hour a day. But what that turned into her for her in terms of the health benefits and how it started to infiltrate every dimension of her life in a positive way was pretty profound. So walking is not the consolation prize when you can't do a real workout, right? It's a legitimate research-backed health practice. Claim it, pursue it, pollinate it into your life. You do not, I know this is going to be like newsflash, right? You do not need to run a marathon to be healthy. You do not need to punish your body into submission. Hey, if you love to run marathons, more power to you. You'll never find me running a marathon. Not my thing. But I do find a lot of people running marathons not because they love it, but because they're trying to do it for the health benefits. And honestly, I think when you are not necessarily conditioned to run a marathon, it can do the opposite. Running a marathon can be incredibly stressful and depleting on your body. Sometimes the most profound health practice really is the simplest one. In fact, I have found that to be true more often than not as a coach. That's why I'm always returning to the basics. And the thing with walking is you already know how to do it. You don't need to buy anything. You don't need to have a certain, a special trainer or guidance. You just need to walk, lace up, step outside, put one foot in front of the other. It can be that simple and that powerful. If this stirred something inside of you, imagine what a whole book of clarity and courage could ignite. The Consistency Code, a midlife woman's guide to deep health and happiness, goes even deeper into the mindset and practices that create real, meaningful change at midlife. Grab your copy today over at theconsistencycode.com. and keep the momentum alive.